Hello, and welcome to my presentation, Vendor Integration, for CIS 545, Managing Enterprise Systems. Today, we will be discussing the impact of vendor mergers and acquisitions, and how they impact our company, and specifically how they impact our company's enterprise systems. The first thing to know, when any vendor has merged with another or has been acquired by another company, is that every time a merger or acquisition occurs, different things are affected, and past experiences may mean very little. Each time it occurs, there could be a negative or positive outcome, and normally there's a mixture of both. However, things that remain true no matter what is that it will require a new approach to your relationship with that vendor and a reevaluation of that partnership. When a vendor you do business with has merged with someone else or has been acquired by someone else, the biggest way to predict or attempt to predict the future challenges you will face boil down to what's written in your contract with that vendor. Some key things to look out for is contract renewal. If you are near the end of your contract with a vendor, or even if you have just begun, you will need to look at whether or not you will renew, and the impacts of that can be challenges with their new technologies, whether they have added more or reduced them, added different integrations, or altered their pricing scheme. Maybe they changed their business model. All things we'll have to consider moving forward and challenges we'll have to discuss. We'll also have to look at whether or not this new acquisition impacts our ability to negotiate different rates, or if we are able to modify anything in the contract at all. As far as our enterprise systems go, the biggest thing to look at in the contract is our service level agreements and how those will be affected by this merger. Will the service level agreements go up, or will they be negatively impacted and expect longer turnaround times for us to get things fixed? Or if we need issues resolved, can we still expect that same value that we were getting before? Moving on, we'll talk about the disruption in the company and in your current enterprise systems. The biggest change when a company is merged with someone else or is acquired is that technology can be replaced, altered, discontinued, or even marked as obsolete. What this means for us and our systems is that once relied upon communication and connections between the different systems could be getting changed, which would require us to then update our own systems, or it could include new communications and new processes, again, which would require us to update our systems to take full advantage of that new communication or that new integration. Employee turnover can impact us. Things that were once responsible by a, for example, specific software developer, maybe a new feature or our first line of contact for issues, maybe that person's let go during the merger. So now we can expect longer response times, or we can expect things not to get worked on as often. Additionally, speaking of things not getting worked on, roadmap changes can occur when a company has merged with someone else. Things that were planned to be released can be pushed back, they can be altered in their scope, or they can be completely scrapped, thus rendering all the changes we made in preparation to our enterprise system obsolete. And finally, pricing alterations can occur when our contract expires. Prices could go up or down, and we'll go into that a little bit more shortly. Going more into the cost associated with a vendor merge or acquisition, the vendor pricing scheme may change. The newly merged vendor may update its business model, which could result in free technologies for you as a customer, or could result in a pricing change and a more tiered system. Those prices could either go up or down, depending on how your contract is worded. And if there's not a strongly worded contract, all pricing changes are completely up in the air. This leads us to our next point, the value change. With those prices going up and down, and new technology being introduced or removed, or new integrations being added, the value of that partnership can change. There's a good chance that the newly acquired merged vendor could bring with it more integration to additional softwares that they could add to your contract. With this, your value of the contract and value of that partnership increases because now you have access to more systems that your enterprise system can hook into and use and leverage. Lastly, a common overlooked cost is communication. During that time of the vendor merged and acquisition, communication often goes downhill. What this means for you as a client is you can often expect longer response times and less return around on bugs and issues that you report to your vendor. This also means that planned features that were discussed in the past may take longer to get to, and updates that you may have been common when changes were occurring may accidentally get missed. So in conclusion, your contract with the vendor can make or break all the challenges that you'll face in the future with the merger or acquisition of your vendor. How that contract is worded can decide whether you'll be staying with them or need to immediately jump ship and look for other opportunities. Lastly, I have 2 questions for you. First, have you ever dealt with a vendor merger or acquisition? And if so, what impacts did your company face and what challenges and changes did they have to initiate? Second, if your company's vendor was just bought out, with your contract set to expire shortly, do you proceed with the company that bought your vendor and hope for improvements? Or do you begin searching for a brand new one, completely unrelated? And lastly, here are my works cited. Thank you.